triathlete for Great Britain.
As a world champion and Paralympic triathlete, I wanted to tell the world some of the stories behind the people and the personalities I have met throughout my 9 years in the sport. With the Paralympic Games around the corner, now seems the perfect time to get to know some of the para triathletes who will be going for gold in Tokyo. Today, I'll be going beyond with Germany's Christiane Reppe. Christiane lost her leg due to cancer at the age of 5, learning to swim at 10 and going on to win 2 Paralympic bronze medals at Athens 2004, aged only 15. After representing Germany again in Beijing and London, Christiane moved on to hand cycling, winning Paralympic gold at Rio 2016. Her next challenge was to be triathlon, winning a World Championship bronze medal in 2019. The next stop is Tokyo.
Hello.
Hi.
How are you?
Thank you for the invitation.
Oh, no. Amazing. At 5 years old, you had surgery to remove your leg.
Yeah, I had cancer.
Did you want to tell us a bit about, I guess, if you can remember back to then, or the journey from having the operation to into the world of sport?
Well, there was a lot of time between my my amputation and going into sports, because I was 5 years old. I was starting to learn swimming after I had the amputation. Yeah. So I learned to swim with one leg and also to cycle. And I started sports, I don't know, with 10 or something. Okay. Yep. I started with swimming. Then I had a little, then I learned skiing. But that was, where I live, we don't have so much hills, so I decided to stay with swimming. And and then I had 2002, I had my first, I was 15 years old or 14, I don't know. I had my first World Championships in Argentina. That's a long time ago. Yeah. And then, nobody expected really from me to be so good, and I already came home with 2 bronze medals, and then I was in the national team, and since then I'm doing sports, so it's crazy. Yeah.
Do you think was there a point where you realized that you wanted to become like a Paralympian? Did you know of the world of disability sport, or did you just sort of go one stage to the next?
Yeah, no, I didn't. Even before the World Championships, I didn't really know about the Paralympic Games.
Okay.
Crazy. But I just like to do sport, you know. I didn't think about, I want to be a Paralympian or whatever. I just did sports, and I grew up. I got better and better, and I trained more and harder, and it was more slightly going into it, you know. So I didn't really think of it, yeah.
And you said 14 or 15 in 2000 to Argentina, and then that made you around 16 when you went to your first games?
Yeah, 16, 17, yeah, something like that.
And
I was pretty young.
How was that for you? I mean, to come away with 2 bronze medals, like that must have just set like a fire inside you to want to come back and be more successful.
Well, I think it's much more different than it now is, because you don't really you think totally different. You just go there and everything is so big. I mean, it was Athens and it wasn't big like in Beijing or London, not close to it, but for me it was really big, and I met so many people, and it was totally different, and I just did it, you know. I just did it. I didn't think about it really. And then Beijing and London, I was doing it on purpose, you know.
Yeah.
Sounds strange, but that's how it was. Yeah.
And did your mindset between the games change towards? I guess you got more mature as an athlete, but how did you approach each individual games? Like, obviously for Athens, you probably went in thinking, you know, I'm going to do my best to see what happens and enjoy it. Like, then came Beijing. Was there more focus? Was there more determination?
Yeah, Athens was more like I just go there and see what comes. And Beijing was, I had a lot of problems in Beijing because I had a shoulder operation. I was after it, just a year after. So my results weren't so good like I wanted it to have. And but it was great to be in China, to be in Beijing. It was different world. I mean, it's just really a different world. And then London was 2 years before I decided to get really professional, to train really like a full-time athlete. And I changed my coach, and that was really a good experience. And and then to Rio, that was totally different, because after London I stopped with sports at all.
Yes.
And then 1 year after I started with hand cycling, because I just realized I always thought I'm a swimmer, but then I realized no, I'm an athlete, and it doesn't matter what sports I do, and I really missed it. And I started with hand cycling, and I started it a little bit because I had also a dream 1 year after London, and I dreamed to be on top of the podium, but I didn't know which sport. That was crazy, and it was like something is asking me to do it.
That's amazing, though.
And then I started hand cycling, and 16 I won gold. That was crazy.
And can you just tell anybody that's listening what it felt like to, I guess, finish the race, and then when you were stood there and you listened to your national anthem and they put that gold medal around your neck? Can you just explain to everyone how that felt?
Well, I'm always explaining it like I have never been that proud of myself. Yeah. I mean, I won a lot of medals before, and I already became world champion in hand cycling before, but I've never been so proud. And that was a really good feeling. And it was a hard race. It was not an easy race, and that was making it much more worth.
Definitely. And then tell us now how you went from, obviously, your Paralympic champion in cycling. How did Para Triathlon come on your radar, and what made you think, you know what, I'm going to go forward to Tokyo and do Para Triathlon?
Well, we already talked about it before, that it will be a goal someday. And 2018, I don't know, I was multiple world champion in hand cycling, and I was just, I achieved everything, I was full. I needed a new experience. And then I said to my coach, I said, hey, I have to change something now. Actually, we wanted to really be in Tokyo with hand cycling.
Okay.
So we had to change the plan. Quick.
And between the two sports, what have you had to change your bike at all going between the two, or are you riding the same bike setup?
I changed the bike brand I changed.
Okay.
But I'm still riding a hand cycle, and what's new is the racing chair. I've never raced a racing chair before. That's the running part in triathlon for me, and that was difficult.
Okay, so like for me, obviously, and it gets confusing for people. So we were in the same category when we were swimmers, but now we're not in triathlon. We wouldn't have been in cycling, and we wouldn't be in running. Yeah. So can you explain to people, like, I guess, what it is your category is in Para Triathlon?
It's totally easy to explain, because the problem between us is you can run. I cannot run with a prosthetic leg. That's just the thing. So I'm racing in we call it like wheelchair class, and that class is divided in two classes, and they start at different times. The first class that is starting is there are just wheelchair athletes who really sitting in a wheelchair who can't use their legs.
Yes.
And of course, I'm in a better position if I can use one leg. So, and I'm starting, I have to think because they are changing sometimes. I think it's almost 4 minutes. I'm starting later.
Yeah.
And and then I have to hunt.
Okay, and so then obviously you're in the handbike. I wouldn't know if I was in a handbike, I would just simply go in circles. So can you explain to some of the people that might be listening, I guess the gearing is the same as a normal bike on a handbike, and where are your brakes positioned? What adaptations do you have that are like slightly different for you?
Actually, almost all handbikes are just made they're really, made for one person. It's not like you just buy a bike and then you sit on it. They measure your whole body and the length and everything you need. And there's not really much specific on my bike. I just crank with my arms? Yeah. And I have a brake, a normal brake, and that's it. And
then in between your three sports, you have a handler.
Yeah.
And I guess
maybe we should explain it from the beginning, because we are all doing triathlon, but in the wheelchair class, of course, I already said we are 2 classes. So the first group starts, and then after 4 minutes, I start, and some athletes with me together, and we swim, and then we come out of the water, or we get we get somebody helps us, and then we all sit in the wheelchair, in the daily wheelchair. Okay. When we come out of the water, and with the daily wheelchair, we have to go to the transition area. And then we have a handler there if we want to. We don't have to. And this person helps us to get in the handbike. So first out of the wetsuit if we have one, and then I'm doing the cycle part. Then I come back in the transition area, and then I have the handler to help me in the wheelchair, in the racing chair, and then it's just to finish. Yeah, just to.
That's cool. And do you have the same handler every time, or is it just?
I'm trying to.
Okay, yes. So you have a relationship.
Yeah, I have. Actually, it's funny because her name is Anna, and she was the physiotherapist of the national team from paracycling, and I took her with me.
You coached her.
Yeah. So yeah.
That's amazing.
She was happy. Yeah.
And just because I'm curious, and I'd like some people to know just how awesome you are, could you sort of tell people what your like average FTP is on the bike, or what times you averagely do for your 20K on the bike? Because I think people would be amazed just how fast you go.
Well, triathlon is a bit different. In hand cycling, maybe that's a better number because it's just hand cycling. In the time trial, it's same distance. We have a time trial from between 15 and 20K, and my best average ever was 170.
Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, the average, and maybe I'm always telling that's a good number, because when we do a test with my coach. We also do like a sprint test that's just 20 seconds, and then there's of course you have the average, but you also have the highest number you can push, and just to see what arms can do, and my number is over 700, so, and that's I think not so bad for.
Yeah, well, I mean, I've been in Lanzarote before, behind Joe Townsend, and I can see his
they were crazy.
And I'm looking at it and I'm going, he's putting out nearly double the amount that my 2 legs are doing, and he's just there chatting to me, and I'm like, Joe, you're a machine. So yeah, I have total respect, because I've sat in a handbike once, it was Phil Hogg's, and yeah, I just went around the lobby in a circle basically, because I was just useless. So no, I have total respect. That's absolutely amazing. So I now have some questions, a bit about the fact that you graduated in 2019.
Yeah.
And it was just before the World Champs in Lausanne?
Yes.
Could you tell everybody what you graduated in?
What's it called? Economics. Economics. Yeah.
Okay, and is that something that you want to do post-athletic career?
No.
Just something that you love?
No, actually, I'm really thinking. Well, last year was really different for me, because I was a lot of times I was the whole time at home, and it was a different life. And I am also a mental coach since 2018, and I think that's something I can. Yeah, that would be something for me, to be a mental coach. I'm trying to do this year a education in hypnotics, or what is it?
Hypnosis.
Yeah. To make a round.
Yeah, that's really cool. And is that to go into a sporting field, or
no, just for everybody?
Oh, that's really lovely, actually. And I bet you've got some absolutely amazing stories to tell that people can help relate to and sort of guide from. So no, that's really awesome. It's something similar to what I'm doing, actually. So that's really interesting. And let's talk through some of your highs and lows in your. You can talk about it in Para Triathlon or your whole career, because you've had such an established and amazing career. What has been possibly the toughest moment in your career?
I think it was the break between swimming and paracycling. I had a lot of issues with my coach in London already. Yeah. And I broke up with sports, and that was my life before. That was hard, but I came back, and I think that these moments really help you to grow. Yeah, to really grow, and that's also important. It's hard sometimes, but sometimes it must be hard. Yeah,
definitely. And I read that. Did you go back into the family business in that period of time in between the 2 sports?
Yeah, but just back. My dad, he always wanted me to work there, and I said, well, I'm trying it, but it's not what I want to do. So
and I think that's amazing that you know where you want to go and what you want to do. And I think it's testament. And I actually really love that you said, most people would be like, oh no, I'm a swimmer, or I'm this, I'm that. And I liked the fact that you said, I'm an athlete. That just sums you up, and what most athletes are, in their mindset and the ability to be adaptable, and the attitudes that an athlete has are, I guess, just testament to what we put our bodies through, but flexible, and we can do anything that we set our mind to. So I think that that's been absolutely amazing. And what's been, I guess, your pinnacle of your whole sporting career, the bit that you look back at and you think, do you know what, that's my favorite ever sporting moment?
Well, that's difficult.
So many to choose from.
Well, many, yeah. I mean, for me, it's not all about the medals. If you come to my home, you will see no medals, because I like to just live here, and I don't need to prove myself something. I just love what I do, and in Rio, it was really nice, because I really had the feeling that I was so proud like never before. But it's not about the medal. And actually, if you see it from that side, the medal got stolen.
Yes, I read that.
So I didn't even have it. but it was just the moment. And then in triathlon, I had a lot of really good moments. It was nice to become European champion. I mean, it's just 1 year now. I'm really doing competitions. Last year we didn't really have one. And it's not always the race. It's also this the things beside, at the Paralympic Games, it's for me, it's much more than to race. It's more like to live with all the people from all nations in the village, and to just see also how poor nations experience it and live it and enjoy it, and it's so cool. I mean, and all the parties after.
I have no idea what you're talking about. Do you know what? On that sporting note, I can sit here as well, being world champion and stuff, but I think my best ever sporting moment would just be when I qualified for Beijing. And I was young like you. I was 15, and I had only been doing it for like a year or two, and it still's my favorite moment, and I can remember it so vividly. But yeah, and I think that we're very similar in that way, in that actually so much more encompasses a Paralympics and the world of sport, that actually, there's so much more to gain from it. And that's when I talk to people, I like to share that and what sport has given me. And I'm sure you can say the same. Like, sport isn't just something we do, sport is us. Like, it's ingrained in everything we do. And that's why I'm keen to get people to know more about the Paralympic sport and I guess the movement that it's making, just because I find some people so inspiring. Like, even just looking and listening to your story, the fact that you have, managed to do 3 different sports, and you didn't just go in and be mediocre. Like, you went in and you podiumed in 3 different sports. Like, I don't think you realize just quite how awesome you are. Like, I'm waiting for you to be changing sports again. And you mentioned skiing, and now I'm thinking, is she going to be like at the Winter Paralympics in skiing?
No, I don't think so. No, I think, I also won't do Paris, because for me, it's another 4 or 3 years. I don't want to do that in 3 years. I mean, I do sports, but I experienced last year when I was at home and I learned to live different. That this sports bubble is really small. It's great and we experience a lot of things, but it's small and there's a much bigger world, and I think I want more. And that's something good, but it will change my life, and
and that will be down the well-being and the helping people, the mentoring role.
Yeah. And maybe more, we will see.
And you mentioned that last year you learned that you wanted more. How did you refocus? Because obviously, you managed to be up there and getting the qualification criteria for going to the games. How did you refocus? Because I think a lot of people now are really struggling with, especially in the UK, we're in a 3rd lockdown, and there's
Me too. Me too. Every day I'm struggling. I'm honest. I'm really not that much motivated like last year, because I don't believe for 100% that the Paralympics will happen. I'm honest. And I see just that so many people outside of sports are really struggling, and they have really problems, or they die, they get sick and everything. And sometimes I really also have the feeling that sports shouldn't be priority now. Sports is very important now to get your head a little bit off Corona, but I don't know. I cannot imagine to go in some months to Tokyo and to race and to feel like normal. No,
I think it's very difficult. And I've actually, in the UK, most bikes are sold out, which is
here as well. It's crazy.
But I love it, because I'm also seeing people doing more exercise, which is making me feel really happy, because we know what it's like from exercise, but it means that everybody else is getting that feeling. So I also read, and maybe if the games does or doesn't happen, you might do this. You want to do an Ironman?
I would love to, yeah. I was already registered last year for Luxembourg for a half Ironman.
Okay.
Because I wanted to try it before Tokyo, and so I changed it to this year. So I will do if it happens, if it will take place. I will do Luxembourg and then Tokyo. And if I qualify in Luxembourg for, you can qualify. It's the only, I think the only half Ironman where you can qualify as a wheelchair athlete for Hawaii. Then I'm thinking about to do it, in the same year, because I don't know what next year is. It's.
Of course. Well, they are very ambitious and courageous goals. So I wish you the best in that. And I come on to my final question. What do you think is the best part about being a triathlete?
The best part?
The best bit. If you could tell someone why you love triathlon so much, what would it be?
Well, the good thing, I think, is that it's not just one sport. It's not just one discipline, You can, if you have a weakness in one of the disciplines, you can, make it
harder in the next one.
It's just really challenging, because actually it's some people say it's 4 disciplines, because you also have the transition, and I love it. And we have really great places where we go. It's much better than in paracycling, I have to say. And the people are great.
You said you went to Madeira, and it's on. I haven't done that one, but you said it's the most beautiful place in the world, and that's definitely one. And I was supposed to race Bermuda last year, and people have said that that's beautiful as well. So I've still got a few more to tick off as well. So quite exciting. Obviously, triathlon, there's so many logistics about it. You have to take, I only take running shoes. You have to take a run chair now and a bike. There's all the swimming stuff, the wetsuit stuff. That's a massive difference from, I guess, just a swimming career and then also just a cycling career. What have been the greatest differences between the 3 sports? Obviously you've worked with different governing bodies now. Is there a massive difference between the sports?
Well, in triathlon, you need more help. I need more help, because in hand cycling, while I traveled around the world just alone, I could do it in triathlon, but then it's really hard, because I have 2 big boxes I'm traveling with. I have wheels I'm traveling with. I'm in the wheelchair. And then you need help in the race, during the race, of course. Because you're just faster, and it just helps you to have a handler in triathlon.
Across the 3 different sports, did you find that as governing bodies, as countries, swimming was a better national governing body than triathlon or cycling? Has there been a big difference in how you have felt as an athlete in between the sports?
What do you mean?
So for me, I guess when I was a swimmer, I met loads of coaches and I enjoyed my whole career. I was never up there as one of the medal winners. I got so close and I trained so hard. And then I would say I was very young then, and now I'm mature. The way that I approach sport is different, and I find triathlon is, I guess it's a very different sport. It's not as disciplined. It's more flexible. I carve my own path out. Did you find any differences in switching between the sports when it came to coaching and the demands?
Well, triathlon, you have 3 disciplines, so you have to train different than in hand cycling or just swimming. I don't know. I just experienced that the world in triathlon is a little bit bigger because we are together with able bodies.
Yes.
Sometimes, not always, but sometimes. And I'm training a lot with able bodies. And when I'm traveling around and I'm going to my training camps on Lanzarote or wherever, I meet a lot of age groupers. So from who do Ironman or whatever. And it's just great to be in that world and to be with them.
Yeah, I think the same. I think all summer I trained with my mum, I trained with my dad, my sister. When I'm in Lanzarote, I trained with one bloke was 77 and the other guy was 14. It's just amazing that triathlon can allow you to to meet so many different people of different abilities and ages, but you can all come together, do one sport. And I guess the final bit that I'd like to talk to you about, because we're like old timers, me and you, there's you sat there, if Tokyo happens, you'll be 5 times and I'll be 4. But I think the biggest thing for me that's changed since Beijing for me, all the way through till now, I think it's people have an awareness of disability, and there's a fondness. I think London, the way that they Channel 4 did all the television stuff and explaining the categories, before, children would talk to their mum and be like, mum, she's missing an arm, whereas afterwards it was like, mum, that's that athlete, she was on TV, and it changed the perceptions of people. Did you have a similar feeling?
Well, the Paralympics, they get bigger and bigger from time to time. But in Germany, some people know me in my city, or some people who read newspapers when they're on the right paper. But I think it didn't change the way, like you said it here, because the Paralympics in London, they have been in Great Britain, and of course it was great how your country really promoted it, everything. That was crazy. I mean, it was the best. But it didn't change the way how people see disabled people in Germany. I mean, yeah.
And do you think that since Athens to Beijing to London to Rio, at the actual games itself, have you seen it change positively?
Of course.
In which ways?
Of course. I mean, it gets bigger. We get more attention from the media. That for sure. We get more confident, I think. We get more confident because we get more... we get more professional, or we become more we get professional, and we train together with able bodies, and that's becoming a little bit more normal. So
more inclusive, I think, is the word. I totally agree. No, that's brilliant. Well, thank you.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Enjoy the rest of your day.
You too.
Bye.
Bye.